It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out the problem. While the workload is steadily increasing because the population is increasing by, we're told, nearly 5 to 6% since 2000, and many of us are about to reach retirement age, at the same time we're noticing a vast increase in degenerative nervous system diseases such as Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. It's difficult to know how we're going to cope with 225 neurologists in a population of a large population of Ontario. And clearly there's no time in history when these services are needed more. 225 neurologists in this province is simply inadequate. The distribution of neurologists needs to be looked at. It takes a long time to train a neurologist. To give you an example, some weeks ago I had a patient of about age 47 who comes from northern Ontario. He had difficulty walking. This was his basic problem. He was investigated locally. He had an x-ray of his back. He had some physiotherapy, some chiropractic treatment. His condition continued to deteriorate, and he began to run into trouble with urination. When he was brought to me, on the basis of the physical examination, it could be determined that the patient had a lesion or a problem in the spinal cord at about the middle of his back. As it turned out, this was a spinal cord tumor. It took 6 months for him to get to me through the various measures and to be referred and to be seen. And fortunately, we were able to get urgent neurosurgery for him, and he is still able to walk quite well. He still has a few residual problems. But the point that I'm making is that these delays should not occur. It is important that we continue to staff the peripheral hospitals, such as Sudbury, North Bay, which I understand there was a consultant in Sudbury, was it, Keith, who may be leaving soon, and there's really nothing in North Bay because they depend on Sudbury. Imagine this man in that scenario and not having neurological services available. I also am frequently confronted by elderly patients with Parkinson's disease, Alzheimer's disease, stroke, who have to come to me from the Bruce Peninsula in the middle of winter. And these are elderly people, and if, for example, I was not there and we had to refer them to Toronto, with due respect to people in Toronto, people in that part of the world hate coming to Toronto. The 401 is miserable and is difficult for them. So it's very important that these facilities be provided as near to their homes as possible. It's long overdue, and it has to be done very soon. There is no doubt, therefore, in my opinion, that there is a crisis in neurology. We are running into the problems, as I mentioned, which is distribution of our neurologists, training of neurologists, encouraging them to take up the specialty. How do we do this? I think the first thing we need to do is to offer some solutions. We have put together, with the help of our executive and polling our membership, we have put together a list of those things that we feel will help. We have submitted this to the Ontario Medical Association. We wish this list to have some priority in the current negotiation process, no doubt about it. It's urgent and it needs to be done quickly. If you ask me that in this list, doctor, are you just simply after getting more money? Well, maybe, healthcare does cost money, but putting that aside, how are we going to keep our neurologists here? How are we going to keep them from going to Alberta, where the fees and the services are much better? We can do better in Ontario, and I think it is time that we do. As neurologists and as a president of the Association of Ontario Neurologists, I am challenging the government, the Ministry of Health in particular, to meet with us on an urgent basis so that we can look at this situation on a larger scale and try to deal with these problems. I think it is important, I think it is urgent, and I think it's the only moral thing to do at this point. I know that there are other demands on the public purse, but if you have relatives with some of these conditions and you can envisage the importance of stroke and the degree of disability and catastrophes that these diseases can cause, you will realize that it is of incredibly urgent importance that we nurture our neurologists, we encourage them to come here, we make working conditions better. We have never come into the public fore before to present these problems. But in the interests of the citizens of Ontario, we are here today to tell you that as clinicians, as neurologists, seeing these people on a daily basis, we are concerned. We need the help of the politicians, we need the help of the public, and we need the help of the patient groups. I'll now turn this over to Dr. Keith Meloff, who will tell you in a little more detail about the list of requests that we have put to the government and to the negotiating team. I'll pass the microphone over to Dr. Meloff.